So if you open up the Word document for activity 7.2, we're just going to focus on number 4. And for number 4, the first step is to build this, what's called a drill block in Inventor. Now I've already built mine, so we can use that, but you guys do need to go through and build this using Inventor. Make sure you're using the proper hole function to get all these different types of holes in the top of the block. So in Inventor, I'm going to start a new drawing. This is going to be activity 7.2. The scale for this is probably going to be scaled down because of the size of the block. So I'm going to do maybe 3 to 4, sheet 1 of 1, and then today's date. So now that I've built the drill block, I can bring that in onto my drawing sheet. So this is mine's on my desktop, drill block. And I'm just going to project out at 3/4 inch scale my front view and my right view, just like I have on the activity sheet. My front view, my right view, and I'm going to right click and hit create. So just the front view and right view for the object. I want to follow the activity sheet and add in like dimensions and other information about this before I move forward, before I actually create the section drawing. So typically I would go to the annotation tab next. Over here I have the different center marks because I want to mark where the centers of these circles are. I'm going to need that to place the dimensions for the drawing. So if I have a complete circle, I'm going to use this center mark, and if I select the largest circle of that bunch, it marks where the center is for each of these. And it's important because I'll use these center lines for my dimensions. I can also use this center line bisector to place the center line through the center here of these circles. Next, I'm going to add dimensions. Typically I start with the overall dimensions first. Notice that when I do the dimensions, it kind of snaps to different locations, so you may want to use that as a reference about how far I need to pull that from the object. And then I'm going to do chain dimensions and chain from each different hole, just like it is on the activity sheet in Word. I need the overall width and height of the object. So pretty much I have all the information I need here for the location of these holes. I also need the dimensions of the holes. If you go back into the LMS, there's a second PowerPoint specifically on holes and hole nodes that you may want to reference. But simply on the annotations tab, if I click hole and threaded notes and I click on the larger circle, it's going to pull that information for me. Now if I built those holes without using the hole function, it's not, right? Because I could make circle and extrude that through and it looks like a hole, but since I didn't build it using the hole function, it's not going to pull the hole and hole node information from that. You're going to want to do that. Okay. So I have my front view. I've added my center lines to mark the centers of the circles. I've added all the necessary dimensions for this. The last step then is to make the section drawing for this piece. So I want to imagine that I'm going to be cutting right through the center of this drill block so I can see all the information for each of the holes. To do that, I'm going to go back to the Place Views tab. I'm going to click on Section View. It's going to ask me to select which view I want to make the section on, so I want to do it on my front view. So I'm selecting the front view. Now it wants me to draw the cutting plane line. Okay, so I want to cut from one side to the other side. So these are both left clicks. And when I'm done, I have to right click and go to Continue. Then I have to decide, do I want to have the bottom view or the top view and be in section. In this case, I'm going to do the top view, and I'm going to place that drawing here. Okay. So now it's giving me, if I were to cut through this object and remove the top half of this object, what would I see for the top view? And this is what I have remainder. Like we said before, because I have the 45-degree angle hash lines here and nothing here, it indicates that anything that doesn't have these is hollow, which makes sense. These are holes that have been drilled into this block. Now I can do lots of things like edit the size of the text to make sure that I select the text first and change the size if I want to make it slightly smaller. This text can also be moved. If it's getting confusing with where your dimensions are, you can move that text somewhere else. We want to save this document as a PDF. So if I go to Save As, Save Copy As, and change the file extension to PDF, it will generate a PDF for this activity, and that PDF needs to be uploaded for activity 7.2 on the LMS.